What up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So this is the first segment of the podcast that we're starting. It's called the Kraft Kast. Now, the Kraft Kast because it goes aligned with Kid Craft, and I own the company called Kid Craft where we do custom bespoke boxes and that sort of thing. And we're creating a podcast where we talk about other people's crafts. So we're going to be talking to people who own businesses, creatives. We're going to look at different segments, restaurants, and that sort of thing. So the first one on the show, or the first person rather on the show, is a very good friend of mine called Sara. And she's an artist. So we're just going to speak to her and, get a background, what she's doing, what she's done. Her whole journey of, being a creative and a designer, a painter / leather specialist, and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
That's a lot.
It is quite a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
How the hell did I do that? I'm so small. I'm a 22-year-old teenager, guys. It's fine. Anything is possible.
So yeah, Sara, I think just a little background about yourself. Obviously me and you are friends, and that sort of thing. But like where did you start? Like, what are you doing right now? And like where did it all start for you?
It started when I was 5.
Okay.
Probably 5. I don't even know when. I've been doing art like my entire life.
Wow.
So I just like to, I don't know, I used to like draw and paint a lot as a child, obviously. Went through with it in high school. I kind of forced myself to do the degree for it as well. So I'm doing a fine art at Wits. But also at the same time, like, I don't know, I kind of like forced my way into it.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, you can just leave it, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Shay, please pass my coffee. Can't even reach past the mic.
There you go.
Thank you. I need a straw. Ooh, red. I like this color.
This is quite cool, actually.
What?
This is the tastiest.
This is the best coffee in the world, guys. If you ever want to have the best coffee, this is where you come. But this place, I actually gatekeep it because like I just love this place too much. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are allowed to come here, but this is the best coffee in the world.
Wow.
Just saying.
So a very cool story. So we at Jasmine Fusion in Morningside. It's a fine dining restaurant. Got a cool cafe, coffee shop. Really cool space. Big shout out to the owner Nadir for allowing us and to come through and do a podcast here. Because I just think it was so fitting. Like it looks very creative, very nice setting, very nice atmosphere. Now we're sitting on this outside porch type of thing, which is part of the coffee shop. Really cool. And we're having these, what is this, Japanese
cold brew coffee.
Japanese cold brew coffee. So pretty sick. So yeah, back to like where you started, what got you into art basically?
I don't know, I just used to really be good at drawing and painting, and my mom encouraged it a lot for me, like while I grew up and stuff, pursued a degree in it. And I don't know, like in COVID, obviously like lockdown happened, things like that. I always wanted to like learn how to customize things and whatever, like clothing, sneakers especially, obviously. And I've always like been into sneakers, like ever since I could like really remember being, I don't know, like when you find your feet at like 13, 14, whatever.
Yeah.
And like you just start liking your own things and stuff. That's when I got into shoes, and I really wanted to do sneaker customization back then. And then COVID came around and I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to like sit at home and do nothing, but let me try and be productive with this. And that 2 weeks, I literally locked myself in my room kind of, and I taught myself how to paint like properly. And that's when I like started doing clothing customization. Obviously, Angelus paint wasn't like around in South Africa properly, things like that. And it was difficult to find like Angelus paint here because it wasn't actually like retailed and stuff. And then also importing it was like such a hassle and things. And also at the time, like I didn't trust to like import because I didn't know how and stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, let me just like try and find alternatives. And when it came to finally, finding alternatives and things, I really taught myself how to kind of work on sneakers, work on like clothing, things like that. And I found out like all of the materials and stuff. And then long story short, about 6 months later, like towards kind of August, September, same time around this year. In 2020, when lockdown had like just slightly lifted, a little bit and like all the shops and things reopened, what's it called? I heard that, okay, fine, D&G hires people to customize for them.
Yeah, at the Diamond Walk in
Yeah,
Sandton City.
yeah.
Okay.
And my brother told me this because he went shopping one day. He was like, you know, D&G hires, so why don't you actually go and do this? And I'm like, okay, yeah, but how are they going to take me? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, how old was I? I was 19. 19? I wasn't even 19 at the time. I was turning 19, like,
Yeah.
shortly after. I was 18. So I was like, how are they going to take me? You know, I have a degree to do things like that, whatever. Anyways, I had literally a portfolio of maybe, I don't know, like 8 to 10 customizations at the time because I was freelancing. And I take this portfolio to them, like, hey, can I speak to your manager? Whatever, fine. 6 months go by after I give them my portfolio, and obviously I haven't heard anything from them. And 6 months later, February, I'm driving with my mother. I only had my learner's license.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. I was pulling up into Rosebank Mall, whatever, with my mom, about to hit a curb, obviously.
Jeez, okay.
About to hit a curb. I had my,
Jeez.
like, I was literally like this, and then, hi, it's so and so from D&G. I'm like, oh shit, like,
Yeah.
right. I got the call.
Yeah.
And
That's
literally
crazy. I
within a
remember this
month's
story.
time, the entire process, they called me in for an interview, asked me to do like a whole test on like their sneakers and stuff like that. And I got in March 2021. And then
crazy.
2.5 years over there, I obviously then like kind of developed skills in leather customization, repairs, restoration. So you could call me a leather specialist now, I guess. Like obviously with the experience that I've gained with them and like on my own as well with all of the experimentation and stuff. And now I am with Yaz. Well,
Yeah.
partially in a sense of collaborative work. So
That's crazy.
yeah, I mean we're doing a lot now.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think the progress or the transitions that you made in like the time that I know you. So you started off as a freelancer. You started working at D&G. Now you're working with D&G, well, Dolce and Gabbana to customize. I mean, do like bespoke paintings on handbags. I mean, these
And
are not
shoes.
like and shoes and you the perfume bottles that I saw you with and
Yeah.
stuff as well. And I think you know what's crazy about it is that these are like not just normal sneakers. These are shoes that retail for over 10, 15, 20K. Handbags, how much are the handbags? Like 30, 40,000 rand?
They start at around 26 now.
Yeah, and then they go all the way up, right? And the fact that you're making those items more unique
More valuable.
and more personalized, you know, to the customer as well. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I mean, I knew some of the other brands, you know, did your initials and stamps and stuff on it, but I didn't know that there was actually a high-end designer brand that actually offered that type of thing on a customization level. So that's crazy. And I remember the first time I met you, that's when we started doing the collab. I think it was for the box for the was it for Valentine's?
No, so you met me after Kicks and Connect. I was obviously like during D&G, I did like a lot of like work like here and there as well. So I mean, we did the auction at Kicks and Connects. I think that's how you kind of like found out like who I was and stuff like that.
That was crazy.
I didn't know you at the time either.
Jeez,
though. When I went to Kicks and Connects, I knew like 5 people. I won't lie.
That's wild,
Like,
yeah.
and I had only met all of those 5 people like maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
And that's the whole reason, you know, why we created Kicks and Connect. So when Ali and I met and you know, we were thinking of the idea of, you know, hosting an event, the reason why we called it Kicks and Connects is because yes, it was Kicks, but there's so many of us in the sneaker market that, you know, we do business with each other all the time. Like we spend so much of money between each other, but we've never met. So
Yeah.
that's why we called it Kicks and Connect. So we can all come together, connect, meet each other. And that's when I met you at the live sneaker auction. I was actually auctioning your stuff off.
Yeah, I had no idea who you were.
Selling your pictures for like a
I-
higher price. And
Guys,
sign
buy
up.
this painting.
Yeah, like you got somebody's leaving with this painting today. So
It was crazy. Like no, you really did the most that day.
that's cool. And you know what?
I literally, that was such a last minute thing though.
It
when
was.
when I came with those paintings because it wasn't on the list or whatever.
Yeah.
And no one was buying any.
So
of
you
the
did that
sneakers.
last minute?
That was so last minute. Don't you remember? I literally, because the paintings were sitting like at the vendor whatever.
Yeah.
And like in the, you know, by the tables and stuff. And then I literally, because I only knew Ali from the entire like host
Yeah.
team. And I literally brought like, I think I had 2 paintings in my hands, and then like I just picked them up. I ran because I saw that no one was buying like sneakers. It was such a dead auction for like a solid like little bit of time, and I was like, okay, firstly, okay, let me do this because it seems like maybe people will buy something cheaper, but also like maybe it's just like, you know, I don't know, who knows what do I have to lose is what I kind of like thought about it. So I pick up 2 of these like photo artwork things that I have, because I used to do sneaker photography in the middle as well, like a lot of it, while I was also flipping, and then so I literally come up towards like where the stage was, and I'm like, Ali, like, and I was literally like, you know, when you look at someone, you just like do your job. So I was like, Ali, do your job. And then I just gave it to him, and there was I didn't keep a reserve on those. I didn't do anything, and I was just like, sell it.
That's crazy.
Like, just do it. I turned Kicks and Connects into Sotheby's.
Wild. Yeah, but look, to all fairness, I think the artwork and stuff was really crazy, and I think what's special also is because there's a lot more females now in the sneaker game, you know, from what it used to be. And I think for you as well to be in in the sneaker scene as a customizer, you know, taking control of all of that. I mean, some of the shoes that you made also with the fat laces on the Jordans, nobody had done that by then. You were the only one at the event and at the time that was doing that. So that was crazy and that was cool. So I really liked that. And yeah, we met after that.
And I was working with Yogurtland at the time.
You were working with Yogurtland at the time, doing all their artwork. And then I met you, and then we started, I did a video for Yogurtland, Sandton City.
You did a video and like a few things for Yogurtland at Sandton City, because I was there.
Yeah.
And then you did a video for me at DNG.
Yeah. So I shot for you at DNG. We did a video at DNG. Then we did Yogurtland, and then we met. We started talking about how we can do a box together and so on. And it was that day when I actually went to Yaz. And I was like, hey man, like, I know you like taking photos and stuff, but so when you have some free time, like, come with me to my friend's store, which is like down the road. You can do like photos and stuff, because he does like forged wheels and stuff on Lambos and Ferraris, and like, I mean, those wheels and stuff are like one of one stuff. There's like only 1-2 sets, or 1 set rather, in the country. I could be mistaken, but yeah, so
more or less though.
And then now a few months down the line, that
it took a while for me to actually get there.
Yeah, like every time I went
but
there,
everything like has its own timing and stuff. No, 100%. Like that. So it was only meant to happen like now at this time.
So the day that I was there and I told you, like, listen, Sara, just come to Yaz. I want you to meet Uzair. And then you came there because I'd already spoken about you, like, hey, no, Sara does paintings at Dolce and Gabbana. Maybe there's a space, you know, an opportunity for her to like do like gifts and stuff. I didn't even think it would get to a point where you actually painting logos and stuff on headrests. Like, that's crazy. So now you went from freelancer to working with Dolce and Gabbana. Now you're doing paintings on leather goods for vehicles, like interior. That's crazy.
And possibly exterior. We're looking into it. Inshallah, it happens.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez. In a matter of what, 1 year, 2 years?
Well, I mean, 2.5 years, you could say.
But that's cool because it
But within 1 year, I mean, I went from DNG, Yogurtland. I worked with Plug and Play as well.
Yeah. A lot for Plug and Play.
A lot for Plug and Play. Guys, if you want to see any of my artworks, they're on display, like at both of the stores in Sandton and in Mall of Africa. So
that's crazy.
Very cool stuff.
I've done boxes.
I sometimes can't believe that I actually did those things.
Is it?
I sometimes I don't realize that I actually did it. Like, I go in, I'm like, who did this art? I'm like, oh, it was actually me. I'm like, oh, I forgot I did it.
Yeah, I was actually at the Mall of Africa store last week. And I saw one of my boxes there. And I was like, geez.
It's a really cool box.
That's quite a sick box.
Yeah, you know? And you're like, oh, wait, I made it.
Yeah, it was for the Olive. I think it was for the Olive Travis Scott Lowe's.
That Tiffany box you made, though, was wild.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because that was the first box I did with an actual mirror.
That was
had
insane.
A mirror finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, like, talking about your craft as well still. Wait, let's stop for that cop to go past.
Is it a cop or an ambulance?
Could be an ambulance because it's... So I think, you know, like, even with me, like... So I've done quite a quite a few boxes for Plug and Play as well. The first store in Sandton City, and then when they opened the second store in Mall of Africa, that's when I did the Tiffany Air Force box. That was a cool box.
That was a
That
really
was a
wild
very cool
box.
box.
That was
That was a
wild.
very cool box.
But you know what's really cool as well was I think obviously like working on boxes, like the way that you've crafted your way and like you've kind of like worked around with like, okay, it's a shoebox, but it's not just a shoebox.
Yeah, it's also
You know?
it's also a bespoke. It's like a bespoke piece. So that's like, you know, my artwork.
Yeah.
Just like how you have your artwork, that's like my artwork, and that's my craft.
It's so cool, man.
And that's exactly the reason why I chose to do the podcast with this name, the Kraft Kast. Cast for podcast, and then craft obviously because now we're speaking about other people's crafts. We're showcasing that. We're talking about business. We're talking about creatives. For example, you being the first one on the show. And yeah, I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it's very nice to showcase everyone's talent at the same time. We're going to be looking at a very good friend of mine is probably going to be on the next one or the third one. We're going to start looking at some of his cars.
Yeah.
Because he's a car enthusiast. You guys might know the famous SEC 560 El Patron. So we're going to have a nice conversation with Naeem and take a look at some of the cars, some of the things that he has and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, the boxes that I do. So for those of you who don't know, I own Kickcraft, as I mentioned in the start of the video. I make custom bespoke sneaker cases and display cases.
Really mad stuff. Like, you need to check out his Instagram. Like, it's the best.
Yeah,
like
so
the best.
Appreciate that. So yeah, we make personalized boxes, really cool stuff. We've done about 3 boxes.
Two
boxes.
Like, you gave it to me and then I painted it.
Yeah, and I've done some work with Shesha for Street Gym and SNK. I have a few boxes that went to Swooshmo in Dubai. So he's actually the VP for Nike in the Middle East. So
Guys, the way that Shay got into Kickcraft is just insane.
Yeah.
Like, the story of it, I heard it like once, but like when he told it to me, just
it's because
crazy.
I just wanted a wooden box for myself, and I made one, and somebody saw it, they wanted it, so I charged them the cost price, and then after a few months I sold 50 or 60 boxes. I met a lot of influential people with that. Went to Sneaker Exchange, the following started growing, that sort of thing. So I started meeting like the OG sneaker heads like Bernie. A lot of you guys may know him as Soul Knowledge. So he has a page called Soul Knowledge. He's currently in Germany, in Berlin, and 2 of my boxes are there. I made a SB box for him. So there's one box in Berlin. So he has that. He introduced me to a lot of people as well, and stuff like that. So I've had the opportunity to work with some really cool people, make some really nice relationships, and do some exciting work. Really, really, really cool work, really cool boxes.
Kickcraft worldwide.
So where do you think you're gonna go to after this? Like, what's next? Like, what's next for Sara? By the way, we didn't mention the flowers. The floral side of things.
You can call my mother up for a podcast for that. It's fine. That's my mother's thing. I'm just the admin. That's just a hobby.
But it's really cool too.
It is, because I did, last year?
What about the Armor Mania?
That's what I'm talking about. The Armor Mania box was so crazy. I've been wanting to do like sneaker themed flower boxes, because like mixing feminine with like sneaker culture is like so difficult sometimes, but like flowers and this box kind of idea, which I kind of got from you at the same time, but also I kind of like just did it.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was the perfect fusion.
Yeah.
I loved it. Cool. I don't know. But that's my mother's thing. You can call her for a podcast.
Jeez.
My mom's really cool.
Auntie OG in the mix the next time.
My mom has what shoes on my mom? She has Air Max, the City of Lights, City of Lights Air Maxes.
Yeah, the first time I actually saw her, when she came to fetch the box that I was doing for you, she came and that was after I saw her for your birthday last year.
Yeah,
and I saw
it was when we were doing Valentine's thing.
Yeah, we were doing the Valentine's collaboration where you custom painted one of my boxes.
Yeah.
and it went with a custom shoe that you hand painted as well.
And Barney shoes.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I didn't like those shoes.
No, I mean, but the outcome was dope though. Like
It
nobody's
was
done
supposed
that.
to be this color of the couch, and then it looked like purple.
But then I saw your mom. She rocked up wearing Air Maxes, but not like it was jiggy.
I
You get
know.
what I'm
My
saying?
mom's
Like,
really cool.
really cool. So like, where to from here? Like, what is Sara doing next? Like, what can we expect?
I don't know. I don't know.
So you don't have a plan.
I don't really. Dude, the plan is finish the degree, get married.
That's wild.
No, but I don't know. I would like to, but it's obviously not like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And then we'll just see where I go with it.
Okay.
It's only expand.
What's
It's just expand. Business.
What's the craziest item that you've worked on?
The craziest item I've worked on? I don't know.
Would it be the champagne bottle would that be one of them? I think
No.
let's talk about that, because you customized the champagne bottle.
Yeah. I did it.
Painted.
I hand painted a bunch of champagne bottles while I was at Dolce. So what I did was I did for the owner of Cole in Hyde Park. I did a bottle for DJ Mapuriza. Even like while I was at Dolce, I worked alongside with DJ Mapuriza. It was pretty cool. Obviously, like I was painting. It was at a Christmas event there, but I got to like meet the team and stuff like that and whatever. So I worked alongside there, and he was like DJing at the event, things like that. It was cool. And then like I met a lot of like celebrities and like cool people like while I was working at Dolce, and like I built a very, very like cool, like very good network while I was there as well. And yeah, I mean, it was wild. Even
crazy.
I met Kabza.
That's wild.
I did a Christmas thing for Kabza, even like a little, those decorations.
But like,
Yeah.
I mean, the first time you did that, like, how does it feel though? Like,
I mean, it was cool.
working with like celebrities.
Yeah, no, it was actually wild.
Because like your story of how you actually got into
I think
Dolce.
now that I've already done it, it doesn't feel like a lot. But when it actually was happening, I was like really excited.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been really long. Like it's been over a year now since that happened. So I think now it's like all calmed down, and now I'm just like, oh yeah, it happened, But like, I think in the moment when I was experiencing it, it was just like, okay, you don't actually see like a 20-year-old kid or whatever like doing things like this. So I mean, if I had to look at myself at a distance, I'd be like, geez, she's really cool. But obviously, I don't see it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's wild.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. It is crazy. Which 19-year-old kid works for one of the biggest luxury brands in the world? Jeez.
Cool. Yeah. So that's crazy. And I, once I think you posted a video recently of you doing a perfume bottle,
Yeah.
hand engraved.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What is it, a
That
name
was my first.
personalization?
No,
or?
that was actually my first time even engraving onto something. I just went there. Well, obviously I had time to test it out, but obviously sometimes I'm a bit stupid and I work under pressure and I just, like wing it and stuff like that. So I had time to test it out, but I didn't end up doing that. So then I went at Dolce. I was like called in to like do like a perfume bottle, and not just one, but obviously it was for a whole thing on Women's Day. And I had never used an engraving machine or hand tool like that before, and I just did it. So that was
But
cool.
your hand is like your hand has to be really steady.
You need a very steady hand. You
Yeah.
need to have a steady hand, like still, completely still.
That's crazy.
I think I'm shaky a little bit right now because I haven't eaten, but it's fine. Like
Yeah.
when you have to really, it's like driving a car.
Yeah. Well, we had Jasmine Fusion, so that's gonna be
What?
sorted. That's cool.
What?
We haven't eaten yet, so.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Jasmine
Naja's gonna sort me out. Always sorts me out. Literally one time I came here, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. I was in such a rush because I had to go to Kicks and Whips, and then I had to go to Yaz, and I was just like in a whole runaround thing, and I was like, Naja, listen, I need lunch. I wanna eat. I'm hungry. He's like, okay, what do you need? I'm like, I trust you. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you this and this and this. I forgot what it was. It was chicken and rice, but it was really banging.
But talking about that, like,
You know what's crazy?
what?
The first time I actually came here was last year today.
Wow.
Exactly, and I was sitting in this exact spot last year. This time last year, today. Yeah,
Really?
8th of September last year. I was here at this exact time.
That's
in this
crazy.
exact seat.
And that's not planned, eh?
That was not planned.
This is not planned. Like, that wasn't planned for this. That's actually wild.
crazy. It's wild.
So, like, what stands out for me for what you're doing? Firstly, your age. Secondly, of how much you are on your hustle for a lady,
Yeah.
right? These days. And you actually doing so much. Like, just now you said you were at Kicks and Whoops. Obviously, I've done stuff with Kicks and Whoops as well for Clayton. I've done a cap box and that sort of thing. But besides that, like, how you are straight hustling. Like look at, like,
I've
you.
always had this drive to kind of like just be independent though. I don't know what it is. Like I've grown up in a very traditional household, but at the same time my mom and my parents have always just raised me to like do my own things as well. And I think it also
That's
like came
powerful.
from a lot of like, sometimes I felt pressured, I think, from like, I think my dad also, like, he did a lot for me in terms of like pushing me. So I always looked up to him. Like, my dad always hustled, even though while he was like, he always had like side things, side hustles, this and that,
Yeah.
whatever going on, even though he had his like main hustle things, whatever.
And do you think
And
that
my mom also like always told me like, Sara, you must never ever be dependent on anyone, like ever.
That's
like
powerful.
regardless of like what anyone can ever do for you, you should just always keep your upper hand. And I think those kinds of things always like kind of taught me like a lot. And yeah, no,
that's powerful?
yeah.
I think that's so important. Like, these days, it's so important because,
We live in a world where like you really only have yourself at the end of the day.
no, 100%. But like, it's also a topic that's very close to me that I can speak on and on about and can get very savage about as well.
What?
About that type of thing about working and as a lady just being on your hustle and stuff, because in all honesty, in our world and our generation, not everybody's like that. I think a lot of ladies, a lot of people in general have this entitlement, and we're just lazy. I think our generation, like, if you look at the older generation, there's people older than us that's hustling more than us,
Yeah.
right? And we just, I think our generation just has this entitlement, and we just honestly, there's just a lot of laziness. Nobody wants to put in the effort. Everybody wants to start at the top. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Like, for example, your story of how you started out.
It was only a matter of luck for me as well, though. It wasn't ever really
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but and that's
You have to work hard for what you have at the end of the day, but also you must always just remain like humble about it as well. Like, okay, cool, I started at one of the biggest brands in the world, great, fine, but at the same time I also didn't, so I had to like, I really worked.
That's cool. Like, and it's so important. Like, that's really admirable. I swear to you. I think that's so important these days. Not just being independent, but you have something that you're pushing towards. You have something that you acted on. You had ideas that you acted on, and all that sort of thing as well. So that's power, man. That's insane. I love that. It's crazy.
It's a lot.
So I mean, this
This
Japanese
coffee is
coffee
amazing.
insane. I swear, like, this is probably the.
Just so you guys know, this is my second one today.
That's what
I had one while Shay was setting up this entire thing, and yeah, this is my second one. This is a halal high, is what I call it.
Wow.
There's drugs in this stuff, guys. This is literally not literally drugs, but like, point is, it's that good. Like, I'm addicted to it. Like, this is the one thing that, like, if I'm in Sandton, then this is like the one thing that gets me through my week. Like, if I have this at least once a week or twice in a week, then I'm like fine.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, I will go insane.
That's cool. So I think that's cool. I think it's a pretty, it's always nice having a conversation with you. I think you're very
Bubbly.
bubbly, you're a very bright person. I think you're very forward thinking. You're an executor. if I may call it that. Like you act quickly.
I was
like
thinking
that.
about how crazy it is. Like you and I are like, I think we also get along so well because you and I are very much, we don't just talk and like not do anything.
Yeah.
You know, when we want to do something, we say it and we actually do it and we actually
100%.
execute it. And at the end of the day, like also like a lot of things are about planning. Yes, definitely. Like I know that you and I, like I remember speaking to you about this like in December or Jan, earlier this year or whatever, like so many months ago, like Shay, I want to start like a YouTube channel or podcast or do something, whatever. And I know that you were also talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And I know that one of your friends were also like talking about it and stuff like that for a while as well. And it's like crazy that like, okay, finally it's actually like coming to life. And it's like, okay, we're actually executing this thing. Like it's, you know, it's
100%.
nice. Like, and it's very difficult to actually find people who actually execute. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people want to do the work, but a lot of people don't want to do the work.
100%. Like, you know, I listen to a lot of motivational stuff because even myself, like I'm going to do a podcast where I talk about my story, my background, how I started, what I'm doing, all of the other stuff, because it's not just boxers, it's not just, you know, the podcast now and stuff. There's a whole, you know, the whole bunch of things. But it's just, you know, I listen to a lot of motivational stuff and it says the time that you actually take from an idea to execution, that's the most valuable time, because a lot of people have great ideas but they don't act on them, right? And then what happens is somebody else acts on the idea and then you're going to sit there and be like, oh, I had that idea, and everybody's going to look at you and be like, really? Did you really have that idea?
Yeah, but you didn't because you didn't do it.
You know what I'm saying?
So what does it matter? If it's in your head, okay, fine. But if it's not like there,
100%.
The world just wants results at the end of the day. It doesn't matter like what you're going through. It doesn't matter what you're doing. At the end of the day, did you do it?
100%.
Did you do it? Did you
and
win?
That's so important, and I think
and it's a sad reality of it. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to that.
100%, and you know that's a very important and a very good characteristic to have as a person these days, because everything's changing so rapidly and stuff, and it's important to be like that. So
it's about your mindset, though. It's always about your mindset. Like
100%.
If you look at the world and you think about like, you know, everyone's like, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, now I sound like Andrew Tate, maybe, right? But everything he says is true. I'm like a Andrew Tate like stan and everything. Like I love Andrew Tate. Okay, so if I could be his fifth wife, I probably would.
That's why. Look, I mean,
I'm not serious. That was just a joke, but like, you know what I mean. If he's watching this, like, he can propose. It's okay, fine.
Like, I'm a huge Andrew Tate fan as well.
I like Tristan Tate a little bit more, though.
Look,
no lie.
Look, the thing is, I think it all boils down to facts, and I think people get upset because it's something that
it is like that.
Like, you know, that's going according to what they're doing or what they're not doing. So, for example, people that accepted that they're lazy and don't want to make an effort to do anything, when somebody speaks about laziness and addresses those things, they get upset. And my personal opinion, look, not everything that he says is 100%, you know, but I would say a good high percentage of that is true. So so I like that.
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of people like can complain like, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm depressed, oh, this is like stopping me from doing this. But really, like, there's, I mean, how much longer can you like go on like that for in your life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, your accomplishment, your ambition, and how do I explain this properly, like in words, where it actually makes sense to everyone, that if you are driving a Toyota, say for example, I'm not saying that this is like your capacity or something or whatever, right? But you can be driving a Toyota and you're happy with that. Okay, great, fine. But if you are constantly pushing yourself to be like, okay, I'm driving a Toyota, that's great, but at the same time, I want this, or I'm working for it, or I'm doing it, then, or like I want, I don't know, the M5 CS, right? I want an M5 CS, right? Let's do that because it's my favorite car. I'm gonna have that car one day, inshallah. Ameen. But then the thing is that now, okay, you have this capacity and this mental kind of, you have this mindset to work for it and stuff, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you make progress is when it'll actually show, if you have that mental capacity for it.
Yeah.
Once you actually, like, I sat in an M5 CS, I think 2 weeks ago or whatever, when I went to the Festival of Motoring, and I was like, shit, I really need to own this car one day.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's
That's
only
good,
one on the market at the moment, and that's the one I sat in.
That's good.
And at the end of the day, it's also like, a lot of people like will shit on you or things like that or whatever, like be mean to you, like, you know, like they'll just not like be nice to you or whatever. Like you'll get a lot of like, people will put you down for being like, what's it, successful, okay? But at the end of the day, only you know how hard you actually worked for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's about like a mindset where, yeah, like you just need to like work, you need to put your head down sometimes. It's a lot of like your accomplishment and things is also measured by your mental capacity. I think that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think being around people that are aligned to, you know, to, I mean, that's a whole nother,
That's a whole nother
topic,
podcast, yeah.
right? It's crazy because, you know, your company that you have around is so important because, like, for example, I came to you with an idea once, never shot it down, we acted, we executed, was a success. You know, there's so many people that we have around, we give our ideas to, and they're like, oh no, are you sure? Maybe try it out first and stuff. Sometimes you just got to take the jump.
Yeah.
That's the risk.
No,
That's
it
the
is
risk
like
that
that.
every business
I
person
think
talks about.
At the end of the day, it's the bigger the risk, the greater the profit. At the end of the day, you're only learning something from everything.
100%. You'll never know if you don't try.
Yeah. And trying is like the only way that you'll know whether you can do something or you can't, or how to make something better or whatever it is. Like there's a lesson in everything at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean it's a lot.
It is. No,
It's a lot.
100%. But I think, yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. Like, this was a really nice conversation.
This
I
is a
like
nice-
that. I
yeah.
hope you guys all enjoyed that as well. And yeah, stay tuned, man. Like, we got some really cool episodes coming up. I have some really cool people that we're gonna have on the show.
Very cool people.
A lot of nice stuff.
This is only the pretty intro.
So yeah, so I have quite a few people, you know, lined up. There's a lot of episodes that we currently shooting and that sort of thing. This is the first one. This is with Sara and, you know, her story and
I'm
what.
just a marketing
And I-
strategy here.
And I really wanted to showcase her work because I think it's really amazing, you know, being a female in the industry that we're in.
You can just pop my little Aras Worldwide there.
And yeah, we'll show her page on the screen like now. And yeah, so we're gonna check that out. And yeah, hope you guys stay tuned. Hope you guys keep subscribe. We got a lot more episodes coming. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Until the next one, peace.